Fort Dodge can complain about is that you all over the place, and he's here now. So 955-1400 if you have a question or comment for the mayor of Fort Dodge. We talked about all the great places here in Fort Dodge we like to eat in the last half hour, and I kind of enjoyed it.
Well, this we got about 20 minutes or so. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing play of the Dodger girls softball team.
Thank you.
And Andy Adams and all those young ladies that are trying to get back in that championship column.
Game, man.
They're in the game, so now they want to bring home that state championship trophy. So good luck to them. Excited for them to win it here right at home in Fort Dodge. We just got another 5-year extension on girls state softball to stay here in Fort Dodge. Yep. So that we got another 5 years. And we're working. There's some stuff on the agenda. Will be on the agenda here very soon, with some additions to some field improvements for the baseball diamond out there, and some other stuff at Harlan Rogers. So we're continuing to invest in that facility and making it the premier place in Iowa to host softball, baseball, and any other fun activities, soccer, all that good stuff.
We have a great facility. Thank you to Iowa Central for making your dorms available. I think that's big.
It's a big part of it.
Big part of it. That's big in keeping the games here in Fort Dodge. I'm always afraid of someone like, the Field of Dreams thing over by Dyersville, which is just the side of Dubuque, stepping up and trying to get the girls' games away from us. But I got your Field of Dreams right here. You know what I mean? Don't give me that Field of Dreams. Oh, yeah, this is a historic spot. It was a movie. I liked it personally.
It's a great movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah. Oh, God. I love baseball. And from what I understand, I think the Yankees are playing there.
I think the Yankees and
White Sox.
It's the White Sox.
I think it. I don't know for sure, but I know it's the Yankees.
Sure. Is that coming up here, or did it happen?
No, I don't think it's happened yet. I think it comes up like late next month.
Okay. Is it during the All-Star break?
Was it during the All-Star break?
Yeah.
No.
You sure?
Well, listeners, if you know, 955-1400, but.
I've been bad about.
See, if Mulholland was over there, he'd be working.
He would
his
already
phone.
know.
Yeah, no, he'd be working his phone and then act on air like, I knew that.
I think I just got the answer.
You got the
text. I think it's August 12th. It might be August 12th. I don't know if that's what the caller or the texter was telling me or not. Anyways, the other thing, weird little connection to Fort Dodge. My wife's cousin is Michaela Skinner on the U.S. gymnastics team. And so, it's not like she's listening or anything, but good luck to her in Tokyo. So if anybody's a big gymnastics fan, there's a little tie to Fort Dodge. Michaela Skinner's got it. My wife's actually her cousin, and been rooting her on all through her gymnastics career. And this will be her second Olympics. So she was in Brazil last time as an alternate, and this time she's on the team as an individual.
Well, I looked it up, and the Field of Dreams, it's on August 12th.
Okay, there we go.
And the Yankees are playing the White Sox, which would be a great.
It'd be a fun one to see.
And it's available exclusively to residents of Iowa.
Really?
Isn't that great?
That is cool.
So you Chicago people stay over there where you are. Well,
the funny thing is that's my brother's birthday, Mitchell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mitchell. How old is he going to be?
Ooh.
Is he right next to you, or is
45?
The girls are younger than both of you guys, right?
Yep. Jennifer. It goes me, my brother Mitchell, then Jennifer, then Jessica. Jessica's the youngest.
I've met Mitch a couple of times, and he
was just home.
Was he?
Yeah.
Nice guy. I thought he was a Cubs fan.
He is a Cubs fan.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
By the way, who won the Cubs-Cardinals game last night?
The Cardinals.
That's right. Yeah, I watched.
We got 2 out of 3 of this one, but you were already leading the series 4-0 going into this series.
And the Cubs played so poorly. I mean, they led they led 1-0, and then a couple of really poor.
Well,
plays.
the game Saturday night, we were winning until the 9th inning, where I think he scored like 5 runs.
Yeah, that was good for him. Yeah, but I don't. We were talking about this on the sports show on Friday with Randy and Nevin. really the Cards and the Cubs, I thought were going to be two of the better teams in Major League Baseball. They, look at their roster, but it turns out that they suck. They're just, despite their talent and Wainwright still's got some gas in the tank, too much to my surprise, but yeah.
So we've got you guys again tonight.
Yeah.
At 6:15.
I suppose I'll tune it in just because I'm a masochist, I guess. The Cubs.
Well, I'd like to. So we've lost one in this series so far. It'd be nice to get 3 wins out of it.
Well, it depends on your perspective, of course.
Well, my perspective is the Cardinals need to win 3.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't think it'll make much difference in the standings no matter who wins. I think the Brewers are going to smoke everybody in the Central Division, and I still can't. Once again, Mike, the Kiss of Death Divine, picked the Suns to take the NBA Finals in 5 games. I was close. It was 5 games. No, it was 6, I guess. But the Bucks just killed the Suns, and that's I guess I have that power, not power that I wanted, but yeah, we do want to. So
you're gonna go ahead and say Kansas City's gonna win the Super Bowl this year for me?
Go
ahead and say that right
all
now.
Right. I predict Kansas City will win the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's a kiss of death, Chiefs fans.
The funny thing of it is, I did pick them last year. I was all over the radio. Oh, the Chiefs are going to Tom Brady's over and done with, and then I tuned into the game, and God, the Buccaneers handled the Chiefs like I've never seen the Chiefs handled like that before.
Yeah,
they, Holmes did his best, or Mahomes, excuse me.
Yep.
But the Buccaneers had a defensive scheme to neutralize him and his receivers, and
it worked.
It was the Buccaneers dominated the games front to start, I thought, and of course I had picked the Chiefs. So there you go, and I'll pick them again this year just for Matt Bemrich, which should mean they don't even win their division. But I do want to give a shout out to all the Fort Dodge softball team members. You've all done just a terrific job. We've kind of focused on Jalen Adams and her extraordinary performance this year. Rob Jones and I both have, but I would like to say that of the clips I've seen of the play on television, and of course I tried to get into Harlan Rogers Park one night, and you had way too many people for me. But the entire Dodger team out there has just been terrific defensively. We don't talk much or enough about defensive skills with the Dodger girls or sports at all, but the Dodger girls have been great on defense. Jalen Adams has again put on a great performance, but she had plenty of help on defense. Plenty of help. Absolutely. Outstanding. Those girls just
a lot of good play.
A lot of good play.
You can stream it actually.
Really?
On I believe I had it up the other
Iowa
day.
Public Television, maybe?
No, it's the Iowa
High School Athletic Association.
Girls Athletic Union. I think it's through their webpage. Somebody threw a link up to it on a Facebook post, and that's how I found it. I'll have to look and see if I can find it again. I'll email it to you.
That'd be perfect. Yeah, please do email it to me. That'll means I can watch both games.
Yeah,
at the same time. Because lately I've been listening to Rob Jones on Sunny 99.7, and then switching over to the NBA Finals or the Cubs game, the Cubs Cardinals game, because they are playing the Cardinals. I can't help but feel a little nostalgic and bittersweet about what's happening out at the mall. I see the Yonkers store is disappearing piece by piece, and that's just the way it is, I guess. But good afternoon. You're on the air with the mayor.
Hey there, it's Jim Christian. Huh?
Hey, Jim. How's things?
I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to let Matt know I was at a meeting in Des Moines today on economic development, leadership development training with community colleges and a few other folks. And actually, after we talked for about half an hour, Debbie Durham looked at me and said, you know what? The kind of leadership training you're talking about is exactly what Fort Dodge and Webster County has been doing the last many years with Matt Bemrich and the supervisors working together. And I just want to put a plug in for Matt because he's done a hell of a job and look at our community and its development. So, Matt, congratulations.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that.
I have to leave the room now because Matt's head got huge.
Well,
it's my hair's growing.
Debbie was, and Matt, Debbie Durham well. She's head of Economic Development Authority, and she says it like it is. And she said, no. I said, Matt and Dennis Botts and the county supervisors, Mark Campbell, you guys got it together. And, working with, of course, the community college on training, all that. But I just think, again, Fort Dodge is blessed. And I'm glad, Matt, you're running again. Hopefully you can beat your record victory last time.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Anyway, by the way, Jim,
I don't need to stay on if you don't want me.
No, Jim. We talked the other day, and I subscribe to a couple of sports sites, and one of them is The Athletic. Now, The Athletic has some great writers on it, and they actually wrote a story, Scott Docterman, with the Register, must freelance with The Athletic. Anyway, he wrote a story in The Athletic about Floyd of Rosedale, very good story, and he described Jim Kirsten as the local power broker. So if you want to see your...
I got to correct him on that. I'm just guy helping him out. So.
Local power broker.
I didn't pay him. I had some friends that told me that, and they said, "Did you pay that guy to put that crap in?"
No, Jim is a very good connector. Yeah, Jim is kind of a master at connecting people to people. So Jim always does a good job of, hey, I was in talking to this person, and they mentioned this. Would you be interested in meeting them and talking to them? And I usually always say yes to those opportunities. And over the years, those relationships have fostered and helped build some of the projects in our community and brought dollars to our community that otherwise would have went somewhere else. So Jim's been a very good conduit to connecting not just myself, but other local leaders and our economic development people to all kinds of different opportunities and relationships over the years. So, Jim, to your credit, thank you.
Well, I thank you. And, that's just 30 years of working in local, state, and federal areas and business. So I I told my kids growing up, everything in life is about relationships.
Yep.
Treat people well, and when you need them, they'll be there to help you. And so that's kind of what I do to help Matt and all those guys. So anyway, I don't need to get kudos today, but I called for Matt. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'd like a few. I'm the one getting left out in this love fest here. You suck. You suck.
Well, next time, what we got to do is we got to get Debbie Durham on and tell her what a great radio host you are.
Yeah, she knows. She knows.
She's been on your show.
Oh, yeah. Kelly over at the Growth Alliance, Kelly Halstead used to bring her around every now and then. And she's, and I, of course, I've been down in the State House a few times and ran into her. No, she's and the first time I talked to her, she was over in Sioux City. She was the head of Sioux City Economic Development.
Yep.
And she was, I look for people who can present well on the air, Jim. Not everybody has those communication skills. The best leaders are going to have great communication skills now, as far as I'm concerned. But when I got Debbie Durham, when she was still in Sioux City, to appear on my show, I thought, this girl's going someplace. This lady's going someplace, because she could sell it over the phone like very few people I've ever heard. And she can still do that. And and she's, I don't think there's anything, I think she's a very genuine person. And I've had the opportunity to talk to her, have her on the air in a long time, but I would certainly welcome that opportunity.
Well, that made me think, Greg, actually she did kind of recognize, she said Fort Dodge is well served with local media that support and continue to show the positive things going on, whether it's the radio, like you and the radio and the talk show you have, because you are the only one in Iowa, probably in small towns.
I'm the only one in a town this size in the entire Midwest. I looked it up.
Wow.
A talk show.
That's a neat deal. And then she said the same thing about the paper. I know you've had maybe some heartburn with them, but they are a good local support paper. And, they did great coverage for our Floyd of Rosedale, and they didn't need to do that. But it's a great Fort Dodge story. And so we're lucky we have local strong media.
No, I don't have heartburn with the Messenger. It's just they're boring, except for the sports section. Now Dana and Eric do a terrific job over there. They're I'll tell you, that is a good sports page. That's really the first thing I turn to in the morning when I do. I've been a subscriber to the Messenger for 40 years. I said, but I guess rather than just print Growth Alliance releases, which, is an important thing to do, I wish they'd ask a few questions every now and then, like I'd ask in my snarky way. But anyway,
well, I just want to call and say, Matt, congratulations, because that came from her heart, and it wasn't prompted by anything except it's reality. So Fort Dodge, we're lucky that we've got the team we have.
Yep,
we are.
Things are cooking, and we're going to keep trying to make them cook for 4 more years. So.
That's right.
All right, take care. I got to run.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
All right, power broker person. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Scott Dockerman down in Des Moines must know something about Jim. I don't know, but if you power broker means that you connect people together. You put together different alliances and groups, and I could see where Jim would be very good at
He
that.
always has. I mean, when I was younger, before I'd ever even ran for office, and I was helping out with the first casino referendum.
Yeah,
I remember sitting in a room with Jim, and I was young. I might have been like 28, 29 years old, and they were, they weren't using me. They were asking me to help try to get the 20 somethings and early 30 somethings to go out and vote in support of the referendum, because historically in Fort Dodge, if you're under about 35, we didn't have a really high voter turnout. So they wanted to know, how do we connect to them? Where do we go to do this and stuff? And I just had different ideas of ways to get, doing some social media things.
Yeah.
And at that time, social media was more like email.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Facebook was still not even really around. So, I mean, it might have been around, but it wasn't a big thing like it is now.
Yeah, right.
So we were doing big email threads and different things to try to get in connection with people, because that demographic wasn't really reading the newspaper the same way the demographic that was 40 plus was reading the newspaper, or connecting via radio. So I was just a young guy, and he was like, boy, you seem like you really want to help do some things. And he kept introducing me to people, and same with other guys that were in that room. I just got to know him, and next thing I know, I was doing all kinds of things, and before I knew it, I ended up being mayor. It just got out. And my dad was the same way. My dad's like, well, you want a better city to live in and a better city to own a business in, then go get active, do stuff, use your spare time to make Fort Dodge a better place to own a business and raise a family. So.
Well, we can't forget our friend Kurt Olson. I think he nudged
Kurt
you in that
Olson
direction, too.
was the guy that put me on the charter commission when we rewrote the city charter to make it a city manager form of government. He came to me and said, hey, you've been getting active in all this stuff. Why don't you serve on this charter commission? Because each council member got to appoint somebody. So he appointed me. And I think I was the youngest guy by like 30 years on that thing. And I'm not trying to pick on the other guys that served on that. They were great guys. They were very knowledgeable about things, but they had a different perspective than I did. And I had fun serving on that. And then afterwards was when Kurt and a couple other people said, you should run for city council and make sure that it gets implemented. And the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, right. You just did one term on the council.
One term on the council, and then I ran for mayor.
But you were at large.
I was at large. It was a 4-year term.
So people could go.
Yeah, the four that ran the first time, it was myself, Richard Inman, that won. I had the highest vote turnout, and then Richard Inman. And then it was Jerry Jones and Ike Nelson. That was the 4 that were on the ballot.
Jerry wanted me to be his campaign chairman that year. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I think
he kept calling, or Ike Nelson was the one that kept calling me a kid when we were at the debate.
He said, I'm sorry.
He called me a kid like 3 times.
I mean, and Ike was okay. But
yeah, Ike was all right. He called me a kid a couple times.
Not the way. Well, you probably he.
Oh, I was a kid
compared to him. Ike has been gone for a long time.
He served, I think, 2 terms on there at large. So he had been on there 8 years when he lost to myself and Inman.
He lost to
me and Richard Inman. So when you have 2 at-large seats up, 4 people run for them.
I didn't know.
And
Ike
then
was
the top
large.
2 vote getters get the seats.
I thought he was in it. I thought he was.
No, he was.
Councilman.
He was at large.
He was at.
Yeah, okay. And I believe he served 2 terms.
I don't know. I liked him.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
We've had some real characters on the council over the years and running for council, and believe me, there'll be somebody come out of the woodwork and run against you as mayor. And,
I don't know.
I've heard some rumblings about that already, but I don't think you have anything to worry about.
We'll see.
We'll see. That's
know.
right. Yeah, you never know.
That's what you have a campaign for.
That's right. If you're in office at all for 2 days, you're going to tick somebody off. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
All right.
It is interesting. You go from all these people that are supporting you to being the person that everybody's like ticked off.
It's a sport.
Like 24 hours later.
I swear it's a sport. Picking on politicians. All right, it's 5:00. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
All right, this is AM 1400 KBFD.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Take the Delta variant seriously. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's the plea from CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky to people who are not vaccinated against COVID-19.
This virus has no incentive to let up, and it remains in search of the next vulnerable person to infect. Please consider getting vaccinated and take precautions until you do.
Then Dr. Walensky says the Delta variant is spreading with what she called incredible efficiency and now represents more than 83% of the virus circulating in the U.S. The CDC also says there's been no change in mask wearing guidance despite reports of talks with the White House. And the CDC says it is evidence an untreatable superbug fungus has spread in 2 hospitals in the Dallas area and a nursing home in Washington, D.C. A handful of the patients had infections that health officials say were impervious to medications that would normally be able to stop it. President Biden signing legislation restoring millions of dollars for crime victims.
The Victims of Crime Act fund, which has been depleted, will be flushed with cash again after President Biden signed legislation reauthorizing funding. During a signing ceremony in the East Room, the president said the money will help those who have experienced domestic and sexual violence put their lives back together.
I'm convinced that women who are victims of domestic violence suffer from post-traumatic stress, no different than a soldier being shot at regularly.
The Senate passed a bipartisan legislation on Wednesday. At the White House, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Lower winds and better weather are helping crews using bulldozers and helicopters battling the country's largest wildfire in southern Oregon. The bootleg fire has grown to 624 square miles, more than half the size of Rhode Island. Wall Street, the Dow plus 25, the NASDAQ added 52, the S&P gained 8 points. America is listening to Fox News.
Nothing is more important than your vote. Now, Newsmax's Sean Spicer and Lindsay Keith are exposing the flaws in our voting systems and how to fix them. Watch Spicer and Company on Newsmax tonight for the real truth about your vote. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide. Or watch Newsmax on most streaming systems or your smart TV. And download the free Newsmax app on your phone and start watching now. Newsmax is your trusted news source. Tune in today.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go. For advice on solutions like XPS 13 laptops powered by Intel Evo platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
With your KVFD News Update, I'm Rob Jones. An Iowa Central student has been doing his part to fight wildfires in the western part of the United States. Turner Soden is a 19-year-old who's majoring in fire science at Iowa Central Community College. Soden put his studies to the test in a real-world emergency situation.